Our next speaker is Riitta Kaivosoja, the Director General of the Finnish Ministry of Education and Culture. She covers a wide range of files, including art and cultural policy. She is also the Vice Chair for the Nordic Cultural Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Riitta to the stage. I won't throw it. Thank you.
Distinguished ministers, other honored guests. Finland is celebrating its centennial this year. Culture all over the country and even abroad plays a key role in the celebrations. Everybody is invited to join in, contribute and celebrate. Thanks to the centenary celebrations, culture and the significance of culture for people, society and the nation are topics that have been discussed a lot lately. Questions like how we can secure a sustainable society also by means of culture, how to enhance creativity, well-being, participation and inclusion, and how we should take care of our cultural heritage have been on the agenda. These are topical questions even in the development of the Arctic region and have been taken as the premise for the recently published culture strategy for Finland. The Arctic culture is lively and dynamic. The Arctic art scene is characterized by its strong international networks and collaboration, a constant aspiration to evolve through different projects and initiatives, high-quality academic education, know-how on the various methods of applied arts and socially engaged arts. The art scene of the indigenous cultures in the Arctic is vital, bold and evolving. The challenges of the Arctic art and culture are closely linked to the long distances, sparse population and the limited art markets. Resources of the artists are rather scarce and some find it challenging to face the growing emphasis placed on entrepreneurship and creative businesses by some funding instruments, as the essential value of art and culture seems to be disappearing from the political and social agendas. I would next like to say a few words about the Arctic collaboration. The Arctic discourse of today tends to focus on natural resources, climate change, transportation, science and security. Art and the culture are seen, but they should be even more be seen more strongly as one of the assets and attractions of the region. I would like to highlight that the fact that the cultural cooperation and regional identity provide the basis and important substance for the entire Barents cooperation that began in the early 1990s. Nevertheless, we must acknowledge that we are now living in a very different world with new possibilities and challenges. Hence, in the culture sector, we see a very clear need for coherence and cooperation between the different local, regional, national and already existing international cultural working groups, organizations and networks. Next, I would like to draw your attention to the Northern Dimension Partnership on Culture, NDPC. The Northern Dimension policy is a common policy for the EU, Iceland, Norway and Russia. The partnership itself comprises 11 countries in the north and in the EU. Regional councils are considered to be important participants in the Northern Dimension cooperation. Since 2010, the Northern Dimension Partnership has served as a regional focal point for the information on policy developments in the cultural and creative industries, so-called CCIs. in the Northern Dimension countries. The Northern Dimension Partnership has created meeting places and forums to promote the development of the CCIs and their regional network connections. One of the activities of the NDPC is to support CCI's networking projects and studies. The most recent EU-funded study published in the beginning of this year is mapping exercise how could creative industries foster innovation in tourism in the Northern Dimension area. The massive growth of tourism offers new possibilities for entrepreneurs in the creative fields. Furthermore, there is a new generation of travelers yearning for authentic cultural experience as part of their trips. The development of tourism is one of the actions included also in the Finnish Arctic strategy. In this development work, it is of utmost importance to take the different sections of sustainability into consideration. Cultural sustainability, awareness of and appreciation for the local culture and cultural heritage have all been very observed in the Arctic strategy and the national tourism strategy. For example, the Finnish Sami Parliament has started a process to create guidelines for responsible Sami tourism with the support of our ministry. One of the main objectives is to develop ethical guidelines from the Sami point of view for socially, culturally and ecologically sustainable and responsible Sami tourism product development and presentation in Finland. The ethical guidelines are due at the end of this year. I would also like to bring up the collaboration between culture and the healthcare and social sector that is also being developed and piloted in the Arctic regions. The Arts Promotion Center Finland is one of the developers in this area. In general, the objective of the work is to enhance the accessibility of art and culture, for example, by taking art to healthcare institutions. People-to-people cooperation is recognized as a top priority in the Arctic cross-border cooperation. Cultural exchange as well as exchange of experiences and best practices, ideas and technologies is also an important step in the identity building process. A deepened collaboration in the Arctic culture strengthens the possibility to attract international financing and establish large-scale activities. The Parent strategy for 2014-2018 takes account of the wide range of possibility to enhance culture policy dialogue and practical cooperation with the Northern Dimension Partnership on Culture. The senior officials group of culture of the Council of the Baltic Sea States, as well as with the relevant EU structures such as Creative Europe programme. Through this approach, regional culture working groups wish to strengthen the impact of regional interaction by actively taking part in cooperation between the different processes and cultural actors. The European Union structural funds and the European Rural Development Programme are major contributors to the development of culture in the Arctic regions. During the latest EU programme period 2007-2013, more than 71 million euros were allocated to the development of culture in the northern parts of Finland. Among the recipients were the Sami Culture Center Sajos in Inari, Korundi House of Culture in Rovaniemi and the North Finland Film Commission. These figures indicate that local people and local decision makers are willing to develop their arts and culture. I believe that the course will be the same during this program period. I would also like to emphasize that by focusing on the strategic and impact work, we can provide political backup and tools for project fundraising to cultural practitioners. To sum up, the Finnish Ministry of Education and Culture considers regional cultural cooperation and the development of regional coherence to be very important. We want to concentrate on enhancing cultural policy dialogue and people-to-people cooperation, and to further develop the networks in the field of culture and creative industries as part of the Barents, Baltic Sea region, Arctic and Northern Dimension policy implementation. Being here in Norway today, I would also like to emphasize the value of the Nordic collaboration taking place in the framework of the Nordic Council of Ministers. The Nordic Council of Ministers is currently working on its new Arctic program. On behalf of the Finnish delegation, I wish to extend my sincere thanks to Norway for taking this initiative. We look forward to having good discussions and networking, and we are actually willing to discuss a possible continuation of this kind of gathering in Finland in 2019. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very, very much.